Good day, welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Fidelia Aguncha. The Department of State Service says it has foiled a plot by suspected terrorists to stage attacks in different cities of the country during the Salah celebration. The service spokesman Tony Opuyo, in a statement released on Friday, said an explosive expert and the mastermind behind the planned attack, Bashir Mohammed, has been arrested. According to the DSS, the terrorists planned to attack Kano, Sokoto, Kaduna, and Maiduguri. The service, however, urged Nigerians to go about their business without fear and report suspicious activities to security officials. The United Nations says millions of children across Lake Chad Basin are prey to deadly waterborne diseases such as cholera and hepatitis E. In a statement, the global body said the children are now more prone to these diseases than ever owing to the rainy season. At least 5.6 million children in Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and Nigeria, many of whom have been uprooted by violence and live in host communities or refugee camps, are facing the disease targets. Now, flooding and muddy roads are expected to limit aid access to remote areas where hunger is growing and food is lacking. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo has ordered the deployment of extra military battalion in the troubled part of Taraba following a renewal of attacks. About 100 people have been killed from these attacks. Osinbajo has condemned the recent attacks and commiserated with the victims. He also assured that the government would ensure the perpetrators are brought to book. The Federal High Court in Abuja has affirmed the election of Aminu Tambuwal as the governor of Sokoto State. Tambuwal was elected under the platform of the All Progressive Congress. The court dismissed the application of another APC member, Omar Dahiru, for lack of merit. Dahiru had approached the court challenging the eligibility of Tambuwal to contest in the election.
This is one judgment that was all-encompassing, that settled all the disputes and questions that were put before the court. And it is one petition from the summary of this judgment that was dead on arrival before this court. And we are not surprised by the judgment, which has also confirmed that the primary election that brought in the second defendant, His Excellency Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, into the context of the general election, which he also won, is also a confirmation that he remains the governor of Sokoto State by the confirmation of his election that brought him into office today.
There has been no any form of distraction, because if from the beginning you have a case and you know the merits of your case, it's just for you to allow the judicial process take its turn. So there was no distraction, and this judgment will not change anything. It only reaffirmed the position of Sokoto State government and the position of the governor of Sokoto State.
We express our gratitude to my Lord for the elaborate and well-considered judgment. Like you heard in the court, the judgment will be ready by Wednesday. We are going to look at the judgment, we are going to study it, and then we'll sit with our client to take the necessary action.
Senate President Bukola Saraki says he is confident he will defeat the Nigerian government in its appeal against his Code of Conduct Tribunal acquittal. The tribunal had earlier this month acquitted Saraki of the 18 counts of false asset declaration leveled against him. However, the government, seemingly not satisfied with the ruling, have now taken the case to the Court of Appeal. Despite the appeal, Saraki says he is confident he will emerge victorious again. The Supreme Court on Friday declared as null and void the election of Herman Hembe into the House of Representatives. It also declared Dorothy Mato the winner of the All Progressive Congress ticket for Vandikwa Konshisha Federal Constituency of Benue State. The court has now ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission to issue certificate of return to Mato. The Olusegun Obasanjo Foundation has begun distribution of hearing aids in Lagos State as part of its commitment to reducing the burden of hearing impairment in Nigeria. Speaking at the end of the three-day exercise, the Chief Executive Officer of the Foundation, Olalekan Makinde, said the foundation has procured 2 billion naira hearing aids to be distributed across different geopolitical zones of the country.
One of my major worry about healthcare in Nigeria is the way Nigerian professionals are living in droves. Okay, the audiologists are not there. Maybe just few. Maybe most states in Nigeria don't have an audiologist. Okay, and you know many states in Nigeria are bigger than many other countries in Africa. So you know it's a big issue. So one of the things also that's why we also have a training part of it. And we are working with Starkey. They are our very good partner, and we are putting these things together. And I need to also tell you that at the moment we're sending 2 people from our foundation to be trained under Starkey for 1 year. They are undergoing training now. They are doing very fine. They are coming back to Nigeria very soon. They are going to lead the program in Nigeria. We also hope that in years to come we can be able to help to train audiologists in the country. And then the people that have hearing impairment is not a disease. It's not a death sentence. Rather, you know, they can live a normal life. They don't have to go to the street to be begging.
Million people in this category. How do you think we can reduce? What can government do? What can each state do to ensure that the reduction of numbers is
Yes, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Lukman Lawal. I serve as the Director of Global Health and Research for the Starkey Hearing Foundation in the United States. So based on the question you asked, like Nigeria has a population of about 180 million. And out of this, we have almost 10 million of them suffering from some form of hearing impairment, specifically about 8.5 million people based on the last estimate that was done. So the government needs to do a lot in terms of prevention. The World Health Organization states that about 50% of hearing impairments can be prevented. And this can be done through campaigns and awareness as regards to antenatal care. Parents need to, expecting mothers need to register for antenatal care, and they need to go for antenatal care, as well as vaccinations. You need to vaccinate your kids against mumps, meningitis, rubella, and other childhood diseases that can predispose to hearing impairment. Furthermore, governments need to legislate and enforce policies around prevention of occupational and recreational noises, because this also predisposes to hearing impairment. So when government is involved and they have the political will, they have the right team to put together a strategic plan, as many other countries have done with regards to WHO protocol. Countries are to have a strategic plan for ear care and hearing health. Currently, Nigeria doesn't have one.
Makinde said the initiative is aimed to reduce the burden of hearing impairment in the country, which was estimated to be affecting 20 million people, majority of who are vulnerable groups in the society.
We know that many people in Nigeria have hearing problems. Statistics shows that up to about almost 10% of our population have hearing impairment. So if you know that Nigeria have almost 200 million people, so you know about 20 million people have hearing impairment. So it's the 20 million people that we are focusing on with this program. And you know already that many African countries don't have up to 20 million population. So the population of people that have hearing impairment in Nigeria is more than many countries in Africa. And that's why we have to talk to our partners. When the former president have a meeting with the founder of Starkey, they came together that we need to do something in Nigeria. And that's what's happening there. And we are doing this and everybody's happy. People are giving good testimonies. We are going to be, it's not just give them hearing aid and they go away. You know, we're going to give, because hearing aids are very expensive. If you know, I'm in the profession, I know. People can know, it can range from, you can get the cheap one maybe for 100,000, but you can get some for 3 million naira. So what we are giving in this program this year is evaluated to be about 2 billion naira.
State governors elected under the platform of the All Progressive Congress are challenging Nigerians to work towards uniting the country rather than attempting to divide it. The governors under the edges of the Progressive Governors Forum say although Nigeria has challenges, the solution lies within negotiation and invariably agreement. The statement comes amid growing calls for referendum to create the Republic of Biafra and a threat by northern youth group to Igbos living in the area. The governors are asking Nigerians to put the nation first while also reiterating their own commitment to Nigeria's democracy. A group of civil society organizations in Nigeria wants the government to stop talking and start acting to ensure ethnic tension in the country is eliminated. At a joint press conference in Abuja, the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, and Protest to Power movement says that it's time the Nigerian government stamps its authority. The coalition is calling on government to embrace the stick and carrot approach in dealing with those it say are hell-bent in disintegrating the nation further.
In this particular situation, what this state needs to do is that it's time for the state, for the Nigerian state to issue its own ultimatum. It is time for the Nigerian state to say, look, these are the processes that we are taking. We are reaching out, we are doing this. However, if within the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, people continue to talk in similar manners, continue to mobilize and address rallies in similar manners, that they are going to be arrested. So you put your feet on the ground and you say, okay, look, the past is the past. We made mistakes. We should have nipped this in the bud. But right now, going forward, if this is breached, we are going to take this action. And then the state should be seen to actually take those actions.
As long as lack of equal opportunity, as long as corruption, as long as mismanagement, as long as the kind of drop leaders that we have seen, we are seeing today are the one managing affairs in this country. There's no way, even if you divide Nigeria into 1 million, as long as this injustice, as long as these incapable, corrupt leaders continue to preside over the affairs of the country, there must continue to be agitation and there must continue to be complaint and problems. So the solution is really lies on fairness, justice, equity, equal opportunity, creating job opportunity for our young people, and for also ensuring that leaders lead by example.
Why are these agitations coming? Some of them are purely genuine, extremely genuine, and it goes back to what we are talking about: mismanagement, lack of proper leadership. These are what Nigerians want. Nigerians want good leadership. Nigerians want good roads. Nigerians want their hospitals to be built. Nigerians want children to go to school. Whoever is providing that will reduce agitations.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on Friday arraigned a serving judge of the Federal High Court, Justice Helzira Ngajiwa, for alleged unlawful enrichment to the tune of $260,000 and 8.6 million naira. Justice Ngajiwa, who is attached to the Bayelsa Division of the Federal High Court, was arraigned on 14-count charges before the Lagos State High Court in Igbosheri. Ngajiwa is one of the judges recalled by the National Judicial Council earlier this month after being suspended over allegations of corruption. The Independent National Electoral Commission will begin the process of recalling Senator Dino Melaye on July 3rd. The clarification comes a day after a group from Kogi West Senatorial Zone, where he represents, submitted signatures of registered voters to INEC demanding his recall. About 52.3% of the electorate from the zone signed the petition. INEC needs only at least 50% of the registered voters to begin a recall process. Top Nigerian lawyer Femi Falana is asking the Nigerian government to restructure the economy. He says restructuring the economy is the first way to improve the country. He was speaking at an event organized by the Nigerian Labour Congress in Abuja.
We must look at those things that tie us together and not those ones that the ruling class members are using to divide our people. Poverty is poverty all over the country. Injustice is injustice. So there is no nation without challenges and there is no nation without problems. It is the ability of a nation to rise to the challenge. The other one about national conference, please, those who are talking of restructuring, many of them are talking in the air. We must concretize this debate now. You can't have political restructuring without economic restructuring. If you are talking of restructuring, you can't be selling the assets of the country to individuals. How can a serious nation be giving away blocks to individuals? States are broke. You are not giving these oil blocks to states. States are not buying electricity companies. Please, Mr. President, You have just informed us that what is owed to pension, those who have served our fatherland, is 200 billion. Just 300. Just this week, sir, the federal government has just released 701 billion to those who bought our electricity companies. Are you not aware? Initially, they were giving 300 billion. That's over 1 trillion naira to manage darkness in our country.
Give him his shoes somewhere here, his phone and everything.
Don't do like that again.
Thank you. So, bye-bye. Hey, Oga, where do you think you are going? Home.
You never shake body.
Eh?
You never shake body.
Shake body, see?
Huh? You never shake body.
Eh?
Never shake body.
I don't get combo for my body.
You go take for here. Sit down there.
Down.
What's this man still doing here?
They say I should shake body. I shake body, I shake body. They say I should do it. And I say I don't get color.
You are asking for money.
Sorry, ma'am.
Asking for money to bail a suspect is an act of corruption. Both of you will be punished. Corruption is not allowed within the force. Remember,
Police is your friend. Giving and taking bribe is wrong.
corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
Glad to have you back. Nigeria's distributable government revenues rose to 462.4 billion naira in May from 415.7 billion naira recorded in April. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Finance, Mahmoud Issa Dushe, disclosed this while presenting details of the revenue shared during the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee meeting in Abuja. He said the rise is attributed to higher proceeds from corporate taxes.
For the current month, total gross revenue, distributor revenue came to 317.562 billion naira, which represents an increase of 45.4 billion compared to the figure for last month, which was 272 billion naira. After the normal deductions, principally cost of collection, the net amount distributable to the three tiers of government comes to 300.843 billion compared to 258.86 billion that was distributed last month. And out of this, the federal government share came to 147.68 billion. States got a total of 74.9 billion. Local governments 20.5 billion, and then states that collect derivation amounts, we have a figure of 20.5 billion. Value added tax for the period decreased slightly compared to previous month. It came to 79.98 billion compared to last month's figure of 84.67 billion. After the normal cost of collection, what is distributable to the three tiers of government came down to 76.786 billion naira and was distributed, or is to be distributed as follows. Federal government's share 11.518 billion, states 38.39 billion, and then local governments 26.875 billion. When we add all these sources, the total, the grand total for the current month comes to 462 billion, 462.359 billion compared to 415.73 billion. This represents an increase of 46.629 billion over the figure.
U.S. investment company Goldman Sachs is asking the Nigerian government to lower its oil taxes in order to effectively compete with shale oil producers. The company says taxes are driving up production costs in Nigeria's oil industry, and if the issue is not checked, Nigeria may find it difficult to compete in the face of cheaper oil from shale producers. Energy experts are, however, divided over the report. TV360 has been speaking with some of them over the matter.
Competing with the shale producers is a lot more difficult than they are presenting it. In the first place, the shale producers are producing close to the market for crude. If you're talking of U.S. the largest consumer of crude and U.S. the largest shale crude producer, so you have to look at the proximity to the market. They already enjoy that. So, but on the other side, on the flip side of it, refining crude from shale is not as sweet as it is when you refine crude from Nigeria's light crude. You know, Nigeria has what they call sweet crude, where refining is the sulfur content is very low. So that is an advantage we have. But I do not think that reducing the tax on our crude production is a solution to contending with the issue of shale crude production. Because like I said, the crude production from shale formations are occurring near the market for crude. We may be actually sacrificing a government revenue for no visible increase in demand.
I mean, Goldman Sachs is absolutely spot on. If you look at the cost of producing in Nigeria, despite our best efforts in the last few years, the cost of getting a single barrel of oil out of the ground in Nigeria, it has reduced. But the cost of getting that same barrel of oil, once you've pumped it to the surface, away from your well to the market, has increased significantly. And that is because of security issues, government regulation, and all sorts. Taxes and charges by various departments and agencies of government on operators in the oil and gas industry. In countries like Angola, oil companies are already telling the government, look, if you don't lower our taxes, we won't be able to produce anymore. In Nigeria, they're still producing. There's still faith in the Nigerian government, and they want to do that. But I think ensuring that lowering taxes will make us competitive again. It will ensure that more companies can invest locally and invest in Nigeria, and they can produce more barrels for oils. Of oil for us. Another angle to look at this from is the fact that in the PIG document, in the fiscal section that is currently being discussed by the House, by the National Assembly, the government actually recognizes this and is likely to actually lower taxes. Lower taxes for deep water, lower taxes for operations in Nigeria generally, and that is because they recognize that, look, we've got to be competitive. Shale has reduced cost over time. There were shale platforms or formations that were not.
The consortium of 13 banks involved in Etisalat Nigeria loan have refuted reports that they have taken over operations of the telecommunications company. The banks say they are only interested in getting back their money. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Communications Commission has assured 21 million Etisalat subscribers that the company's 541 billion naira debt and brewing takeover will not in any way affect them negatively. In a statement signed by Tony Ojobo, NCC Director of Public Affairs, the NCC said it would do all in its regulatory capacity to ensure subscribers enjoy the best of service. Oil prices edged up on Friday, though crude remained on course for its worst first-half decline in almost 2 decades as production cuts have failed to sufficiently reduce oversupply. Brent crude futures were up 28 cents at $45.50 a barrel, while U.S. crude futures traded at $43.4 a barrel. Oil prices have fallen about 20% this year, despite an effort led by the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, to cut production by 1.8 million barrels per day. The Congo United Nations Human Rights Council opened an investigation on Friday into killings and other atrocities in the Kasai region of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The 47-member Geneva Forum adopted by census a resolution brought by African countries that also called on the government of President Joseph Kabila to cooperate with a team of international experts. Kinshasa has been fighting insurgents in Kasai since last August, triggering fears of a wider conflict in the large Central African country. The 4 Arab countries involved in a diplomatic row with Qatar has given the oil-rich nation a 10-day ultimatum to meet 13 demands, including shutting down Al Jazeera media network before normalcy can be restored. The 4 countries are Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and Bahrain. The Arab nations cut ties with Qatar on June 5th, accusing it of supporting terrorism and destabilizing the region. Qatar has yet to publicly respond to those demands. Moving on to sports stories now, the league management company will honor former Heartland coach Kelechi Emetole in the next round of Nigerian professional league matches. The players are also expected to wear black armbands in honor of the late coach who died on Wednesday after a brief battle with throat cancer. He was 66 years old. Shehu Diko, the chairman of the LMC, expressed grief at the demise of the coach. Spanish prosecutors have agreed to quash Lionel Messi's 21-month prison sentence. According to reports in the Spanish media, the prosecutors have agreed to swap the prison sentence for a fine of 255,000 euros. The original punishment was for crimes relating to tax evasion. Premier League giants Arsenal and Chelsea have agreed to donate proceeds of the 2017 Community Shield to victims of the Grenfell Tower fire. The Community Shield is an annual curtain raiser for the English Premier League season. It is usually staged in the Wembley Stadium situated in London. The city this year has been hit with many tragedies, with the latest being a deadly fire which raged through a 24-story apartment complex. About 79 people have been presumed dead or missing from the incident. That's all on news now. Thanks for watching. I am Fidelia Aguncha.